Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. It's another Thursday morning, or Thursday, I guess, whenever you're listening to this. Depending on when I record, I'm always trying to figure out what day I'm going on. But hey, it's Thursday. Hopefully you're having a great week. So before we get into anything, let's just let you know this episode brought to you by Titleist. And listen, true distance is more than just a number. Every T-Series iron is designed for maximum performance in 3 key factors for any approach: distance, dispersion, and angle of descent. Your authorized Titleist fitter will help you find the combination of T-Series models to unlock your ability to not only hit it longer, but to hit it closer too. Visit Titleist.com today to find a fitter near you. So, yeah, go check out the Titleist T-Series irons. And speaking of irons, we got Golf WRX Best Irons coming out next week. So the best of list of 2022. We did drivers a few weeks ago. And Best Irons coming out next week. I know next week's the Masters, so big time there. Next week's going to be a lot going on. I've had the pleasure of helping with Best Irons in terms of talking to fitters and stuff like that. I know I did a show before on the drivers, so explain kind of how the process works. I mean, we could go out and I guess hit balls or have people hit balls, whatever. There's no perfect way to make a best list. Let's just be honest. But we go out, we talk to fitters across the whole country and see what they've been fitting people into and why and all that. So I've been talking to a lot of fitters, and it's been fun. It's been really interesting. So getting to hear a lot of fitter philosophies and things like that and what they're seeing and some of the trends. It's pretty interesting to get to talk to those guys and see kind of sometimes how that stuff lines up with what I'm seeing when I'm out there hitting stuff as well. So it was fun. It was a good time doing that. I'm still working on that. So, but next week we'll have best irons, handful of categories. So we even do best blades. So if you're a blade connoisseur, you will be able to check that out and see what fitters across country are fitting. What blades are fitting their customers into, because it's something that's interesting to our audience. You guys are blade people, so we definitely add that in there. But today's show, got a handful of stuff that I've been meaning to get out on the range, meaning to get out and play, and it's just been one of those things with either weather or life or whatever. It's just been holding me back a little bit, but finally got out, got to the range. I haven't been able to play yet. We've been close. I mean, we're getting weather-wise here. I think I always say it. I mean, I always talk about the weather on my damn show, and this isn't a weather podcast, but we're getting close here. We had some warm days. Yesterday started to get warm. Today's supposed to be like super warm today here in Metro Detroit, but it's supposed to rain all day. And then it's, of course, once the weekend hits, go back to cold again. Because, why not? Why wouldn't it let us get out and actually play some golf or anything like that? So, unfortunately, I haven't had a ton of course experience with a lot of products yet, but that will be coming. And, of course, everything that I talk about now, I will be, of course, taking it on the course and playing it as soon as I'm able to, which... like I said, I'm hoping a couple weeks. I'm hoping something like next week, maybe stuff will start to break. Let's look at the fold phone here. Let's see what, like I said, I know today it's already, 58. I'm recording this like super early in the morning, like 6 a.m. And it's already like 50 something. It's supposed to be high, like 60. And then it drops back down. Well, Saturday and Sunday aren't bad. They're in the mid 40s. So that's not too bad. I think Sunday I'm going to the range again. My buddy John will go out, hit some balls. And then next week stuff starts getting into the 50s. Of course, it's like Tuesday through Thursday is like, mid 50s, and then it drops back down to like, 48, 45, but whatever. So hopefully we're starting to get a little bit warmer, and we'll be able to get out there and play some golf. I'm itching. I mean, I played, was it 2 weeks ago? Last week? I played last week, and it's just awesome. I don't know why. I just got like the itch to play golf, and, just wanting to get on the course and play, and, I think it's because I struggle at the range, and then I get on grass. It's weird. I actually went to the range 2 nights ago. I was sitting there kind of like complaining to my wife, and she was like, just go. Like, just get out of the house. Like, you're annoying me. Just get out of the house and go to the range. Go hit some balls. Like, I'm sick of hearing you whine. So I went, and the range was actually pretty packed at like 6 o'clock or whatever it was. It was like 6:30, something like that. I got there, and it was pretty packed. There were only a couple bays open. If you wanted to stay like inside under the heated bays, if you wanted to go outside, those were pretty much all open. I think there was like 1 or 2 guys out there, but for the most part, the inside bays. And it's so weird. Like I go outside and I hit on grass and I hit the ball pretty darn well. I mean, for me, I hit it well. And I get into these, into the bays on, for whatever reason, on turf, all that jazz, and I just don't hit it as well. I was hitting irons really well that night. I brought my irons and wedges and stuff, hitting those really well. But then you get like longer in the bag, and it was just like a lot more bad shots. And I just don't know if it's like I'm swinging harder or whatever, but it was just like, yeah, I struggle a little bit there. But like I said, the last week when I was out on the a grass range outdoors hitting drivers and 3-woods and all that, drivers, 3-woods, 7-woods, I was hitting the ball pretty well. I was hitting it pretty well. I was definitely far better than what I was been doing on the range lately. So I don't know what's in my head. I'm just I've understood. I'm pretty much a mental midget, which is okay. But like I said, hopefully, I think that's why I'm so excited to play some golf, because I want to get out and actually play. And when I played golf, I've hit some, I probably haven't scored well. The short game still needs to come around, the wedges, stuff like that, just because those feel shots, as much as you go to the range, hitting wedges off a mat, you just don't get that same feel for, hitting those little chip shots around the green, little pitch shots and stuff like that. Those are like 50-yarders. There's not the same. And then also, too, like, you're always hitting from a flat lie. When you get to the course, there's undulation. I mean, even if you play on a pretty flat course, there's always like that little, like, hitting from a slight downhill or ball a little above your feet, whatever. All that stuff, comes into play that you just don't get at the range. And, sometimes it takes a little bit to get that stuff going. So, but like I said, I'm super excited to get out and play and play some golf and hopefully play better than when I'm on the range, because on the range has been a damn struggle. So this week, got a handful of stuff. Like I said, I was at the range with a bag that was just absolutely stuffed with clubs, and some of it I didn't even get to hit. Some of it I was out there hitting balls, didn't even get a chance to hit it because I just didn't have enough time. I just literally, I only had so many balls, only had so many swings, only had so much time. So I brought a bag that was just absolutely stuffed with stuff, and I just unfortunately didn't have enough time to hit everything, but I was hitting a lot of stuff. So let's get into the first product. And the first thing we'll talk about is something that I've had in my possession for just a little bit, and I know a lot of you guys have been asking about these shafts. I've got a lot of questions on my Instagram Q&As, and if you don't know my Instagram Q&As, if you go to @ClubJunkiePod on Instagram, typically Wednesday or Thursday I do a little Q&A session where just let you guys ask questions in my stories, and a lot of people ask questions about shafts or comparing shafts or whatever. And these have been coming up a lot, which is the UST Link Shafts. Now, I've heard it pronounced LIN-Q, Link, and to be honest, I should have been a better podcaster and actually asked UST how they're pronounced. But I was, doing a little research online in terms of the shafts, and UST's own video has a thing that's, the video has like a chain and a lock, and it even says like the link, and it has link in it. So I'm going to go with link. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. It could be it's LIN-Q. So it could be LIN-Q. I've heard some people pronounce it that way. And then also I've heard it pronounced link. And like I said, the UST video said link. So I'm going with link. And they've got a handful of models. Like the new Link is definitely something that's a whole new line. It's not just, like one shaft or two shafts. They've got a whole line of, to kind of fit every golfer. There's, how many shafts is there? I think it's like something like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 models that you can get into. So, I mean, depending on what you're looking for, they've got a model to probably fit your swing or, what you're looking to achieve in terms of flight characteristics. So UST was kind enough to send me 3 different shafts. We kind of, they reached out, said, hey, seeing people asking about them, we'd love to get a couple shafts in your hand. I said, that's awesome. So we kind of went back and forth about what would probably fit the best, and then the ones that people have been asking about. And we went with 3 different models. And we went with the Link Gunmetal, the Link Purple, and then trying to get it off my shaft wall here. the M40x Blue, which is kind of one of the TSPX shafts that they do, which are kind of limited to some of their bigger dealers and things like that. But we kind of went with 3. just because we've kind of felt like I looked at kind of the specs on them. I figured blue would kind of fit a little bit what I usually hit. And then, a lot of you have asked about gunmetal and purple and kind of comparing the two. So that was kind of what we went with. And really excited. I mean, the first one I'll get into, one, they look crazy cool. I know I'm doing this I know this is a podcast, so most of you can't see anything. If you do see it on YouTube, or you're on YouTube or watching this, this is the Link Purple, which we'll start with. And the Link Purple is, again, I don't know if I'm, the camera, I don't know if I'll be able to pick it up there, but it's not, I don't think it'll focus in. But anyway, the purple is a crazy kind of cool color. It's basically an ion, chrome purple color, and with yellow kind of graphics on it. And it's the purple is pretty insane. It's pretty insane when you first open it and you just look at it and it's like, wow, this is a really cool color. When you're actually got it loaded up and you're swinging it, you don't really notice the purple as much. And if it's not super bright sun, it kind of looks a little darker anyway. But the purple's sweet. It's a really cool finish. It's a really nice looking finish on this shaft. I really think the purple is really cool. It's the one when I pulled out the 3 out of the box. This is the one that I was just kind of like, wow, it just kind of popped and all that. Now, being a Detroit Lions fan, this is a more of a Vikings color, and I do have to say that portion I don't necessarily love as much, but no, it's a good looking shaft, and I think the purple is very, very cool. And I'm not a guy who's really has a lot of purple in their closet or anything like that, but like I said, a really cool kind of chrome purplish color that really hits, especially in the sunlight. Like I said, down here in my basement, you don't see it quite as much, but it's pretty cool. Graphics wise, most of the Link graphics, the yellow and the silver, are up in the handle, down to the tip, probably the bottom 2/3. There's nothing. So, in terms of, I know some guys look at, graphics on shafts and they're distracting, whatever. Once this is in, and I installed it with the heavy, there's a bigger Link graphic that's yellow, that I installed down. And the other, smaller little graphics on there are really not noticeable. So once you start swinging it, it just kind of fades away. But yeah, like I said, aesthetically, really like the look. I think it was a really cool shaft in terms of. I can't get it to sit here on my desk. But no, very cool look. I was really impressed with the color and everything like that. And the Lin-Q Purple is a little. It's more of kind of a mid-launch, mid-spin shaft as described by UST. And out of the 3, it was the first one I pulled out, first one at the range. And I do have to say, it's probably the easiest to load out of the 3. So, being a little more mid-launch, mid-spin, it does, in a sense, I won't say it plays softer, but it definitely has probably the smoothest feel out of the 3. It's the one that, geez, come on, what is going on? I guess when you use cheap Amazon grips, they don't, they're not 100% round, and the thing keeps rolling around on me up here on my desk. But anyway, the shaft there, built everything up. I built all 3 the same length, all with all fit connectors. So, could use them in pretty much any head that I have here. And yeah, loaded it up. So this one, all 3 basically, I was hitting in the new Tour Edge, the C722 head, just because I was bringing that out to hit it as well. I'm going to talk about that driver and the other one a little later. But I was hitting that head, and this one here, the biggest thing, the first thing you noticed, one, just really how smooth it is. Like I said, easy to load. You can definitely feel the shaft. It's probably got the most lively kick at impact of the 3 that I tested. And it really does have a nice smooth feel to it. And for being a more of a mid-launch, mid-spin shaft, it definitely does have a tight feel to it. It never felt loose, anything like that. And I didn't tip anything. I went straight in. These are all just 60-gram F5s, which are X-Flexes, and I just went straight in. No tipping, anything like that. But it really is an extremely stable shaft. I found that, especially with this being the first one I hit, a lot of my shots were all pretty much dead center. Everything was kind of dead center. A few shots off the toe because I just, I get steep coming down with it. But it definitely does, extremely consistent. I was really shocked when I kind of looked at the face after a few shots, and just looking at it and saying, wow, like I've really been hitting the center of the club face quite a bit, or very close to it, which for me, again, as I described on the range, has been a little bit of a struggle. Like I said, feel on it was really good. As it loads, you can definitely feel the shaft kind of, load or bend at the top. And as you get to the bottom, you can kind of really feel this one release more than the other two. But a good lively feel to it. It was definitely, the easiest one to square up at impact or turn over. So, if you're somebody who looking for something that, can take away a little bit of right, like this one here seems to be able to do that for you. But I wouldn't say that it's a huge draw shaft. Like it's, if you're somebody who kind of hits it, hits a draw already naturally, I wouldn't be scared of it. I mean, I am that person. I mean, I hit it dead left quite a bit. And I, like I said, there wasn't anything that I was, worried about after, 10 or so plus shots. It wasn't like sitting there trying to hold off, not hit it left. Just take your natural swing. It definitely wants to go straight to maybe produce a little bit of draw. Mid-launch, I think that's pretty close. I would say for me, it was probably just, to my mid, which I look at, stuff like, Ventus Blue, and like AV Blue, the Tensa AV Blue, those mids. To me, this launched just a little bit higher than that. Not much. I wouldn't call it necessarily a mid-high shaft, but for me, it was probably on the higher side of mid. And a little bit of that, too, could have been, there was a little bit of wind kind of coming into us. It was kind of into us from right to left. So everything was kind of a little higher than it typically goes. But this one, especially out of the 3 link shafts, was kind of the highest out of the 3. But again, if I labeled it mid-high, it would be on the very low end of that, like that scale. I know it's kind of interesting to kind of call it that way. But, in terms of true mid, for me, it launched just a little bit higher than that and had a little higher peak. But like I said, consistency-wise, it was just really easy to square up, or really easy to hit, similar shots with every time. And like I said, the feel on this one really, had a good kick and impact. It was, had that feeling of being able to load and really helping you kind of produce ball speed. But consistency with it was really good. And like I said, the smooth feel, it was, all 3 are really smooth, but this one, like I said, probably, had that loading factor that you felt the most. And maybe it's just, my bad swing or not swinging, hard enough. I'm like that 105, 106 guy. So, in terms of when you get into this, are you a are you a stiff guy? Are you an X guy? I'm kind of like, depending on tempo, you could be in between. With my very quick and jerky tempo, I tend to go the side of the X, and with my tendency to miss left, I tend to go with the X just because it helps with that. But the Link Purple, like I said, a really good option for somebody who really likes some good feel, and looking for like that mid-launch shaft. Is it crazy low spin? It's probably not. And again, I kind of rushed out that other night to hit some balls, so I didn't bring a launch monitor with me. I kind of like threw sticks in a bag and ran out the door. So this one here, I don't have hardcore numbers on. But this one here, like you would see just a hair of rise into the wind. It wasn't anything crazy, but you would see just a smidge of rise into the wind, which, again, hitting it into the wind, like I said, something that was right to left and into you, you're going to kind of see, every flaw of your swing. And part of that could just be me, imparting more spin. But, was it the flattest, trajectory out of the 3? No, it definitely had kind of the highest peak and probably the steepest descent angle out of the 3 UST links. But overall, I think, for somebody who looking for kind of a mid-launch shaft, maybe just a hair above, and doesn't need the lowest, craziest, lowest spinning thing out there, this Lin-Q offers a great amount of feel and really tight, really tight feel, great consistency, and something that was really nice to hit. I was really, I don't know why I would say I was shocked, but I haven't hit like a UST wood shaft in a long time. Probably the re-released V2 is probably the last one I hit from them. So it's been a little while, and like I said, really impressed with how how good this thing felt and how repeatable it was. It just really was, and really that'll kind of go through all 3. They all 3 of them just really repeatable, really consistent. But I like I said, love the feel of it and love that feel of that kick and impact, because it was really nice. But like I said, a little higher than mid-launch for me, and probably had a little bit of spin. Again, I don't have a launch monitor with me just because I didn't. Again, this shaft really performed well. I think, in some of the other heads that I'm more familiar with, I'll probably be able to get another better feel. And then, of course, I'm going to get it on the course because that's like the real thing. I mean, I can hit balls in the range, that's fine. But when you're under the gun and you only have one shot and that's all it is, and you're out playing, that's what really, really matters. And we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty excited. It's a really good feeling shaft, and I was really impressed with it. So Lin-Q Purple, I'm gonna go on the low side of mid high, and probably mid spin. I would probably give it that factor. But out of the three I'm hitting, definitely probably the smoothest feeling one. And then you move into Link Gunmetal, which is more the lower launching, lower spinning version, or model, one of, in the Link series. And this one here, again, really nice finishes. UST, I mean, there's and there's little kind of, I wouldn't call it Easter eggs in a sense, but excuse me, the Link, it's kind of like a black chrome, black ion shaft. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, I don't think it will show up on camera, but kind of a black gunmetal silver color. And then if you look up where the big yellow Lin-Q or Link graphic is, if you look really close around the sunlight, it's got kind of these little little pattern in there and stuff that you don't really see. Like right now it's really tough to see, but when you're outside you can definitely see it a little better. But just overall graphic wise, just really high quality looking stuff. And this one here is touted as the low launch, low spin guy in the Link group. And geez, there you go. Come on, can't get anything to sit right on my desk here today. But and then you've got the Gunmetal. So Gunmetal is basically the lower launch, lower spinning shaft, and it definitely does launch a little lower than Link Purple. But the big thing is it's got a stouter feel to it. Like I said, I think they, on UST's website, they kind of say it's built for a little more aggressive swings and things like that. So probably faster tempo, and it does have a stouter feel. I'll be willing to bet, I don't know exactly, but I'm willing to bet that the handle section in the gray or in the Gunmetal maybe a little bit stiffer than the Purple. It definitely had, it took a little bit more to load. Still had a smooth feel. There wasn't any harshness to it, any bad vibration at impact, but it did have a little more stout feel to it. As you try to transition to the downswing, it just was a little more stout. Like it didn't have that, you didn't feel as much of the flex. And at impact, it just, it was a little harder to turn over. It definitely, wanted to be a straight ball flight. It definitely had a little less draw on it than Purple did for me. And it definitely launched a little lower. I mean, I would say that the Gunmetal there, being kind of a mid-low shaft, I would say it definitely hits that. I mean, for me, in my classification, I would say it probably is, I would say closer to a Ventus TR in terms of launch, which for me is kind of that mid-low, little under Ventus Blue, little under the Tensei AV Blue. Those shafts there, I think it's a little lower than that, and offer a little flatter flight than the Purple. The ball didn't rise at all into the wind. It was definitely a flatter trajectory, and but again, really consistent. And the same thing with that, just kind of really impressed with how often I hit the center of the face, time after time. And again, I had some shots that kind of went high toe, just because, like I said, I kind of get over the top and steep on the ball a little bit. But even those shots there kind of hit high in the face that kind of, jumped up in the air, even into the wind. They didn't quite have, near as much, rise into them as Purple did. It definitely still stayed flat with the Gunmetal. And overall, like I said, it was definitely a shaft that you saw a little less draw, and it was just a little harder to turn over. And I'd say hard to turn over like a bad thing. It's really not. It's if you're somebody who loads it really hard, you got a quick tempo, I think this thing is going to be really great. And if you're somebody who kind of fights some of the left, you could also maybe see a little less of that with the Gunmetal. But again, the kind of similar to Purple, I hit the center of the face a lot with it. It was just really consistent. And the same thing with ball flight. Like, if I hit a couple shots that were similar in a row, which for me that day was hitting some kind of flatter draws, it hit the same flat draw pretty much every time. Like I said, unless I got really steep and hit it high off the toe. But even that, I mean, it would go offline. It would kind of fly in the air a little bit. But again, it was still playable shots. I mean, it were still shots that I wouldn't be sitting there, searching for my ball in the woods or anything like that. All shots that were really playable, and I think the big thing with the Link series is that it is really stable, and however they kind of add that consistency with, I know that people are controlling how much droop the shaft has, whatever, but I was able to put the ball in the center of the club face, quite often. With both shafts, but yeah, I mean, between the two, which people, like I said, I got a lot of questions of, Link Purple versus Link Gunmetal. I definitely think Lin-Q, kind of so that mid to slightly mid-high launch, and the Link Gunmetal, definitely mid to mid-low. I think I was expecting it to be like super low launch, low spin. And it wasn't. And I think for me, it was just misreading, like looking at the website and kind of looking at the two. And I think I read it as like low launch, low spin. And it's really kind of mid-low. And I think, it isn't, as low as, say, Ventus Black or, Tensei Pro 1K. It's definitely not that low. I think there is, if you're looking for that, I think there is what is it? I think it was the M40x Black, I think is the low launch, low spin. Yeah, so I mean, if you're looking for low launch, low spin, they do make an M40X Link, which for me, I'm just not a big low launch, low spin guy. Like those shafts for me, I mean, unless I've got a head that's like crazy high launch and and spinny. Like last year I played a lot of Ventus Black because I had that Sim 2 Max head and it spun and launched high. But other than that, like unless I'm playing a head like that, I don't need that. Like I'm really looking for something more mid launch, and like I said, these here. Both really good, but yeah, if you're looking for something a little higher flight, the Purple's great, has great smooth feel to it. And if you're looking for something a little, little mid to mid-low, lower spin, definitely, and something that's got a little, stouter feel. The Gunmetal definitely has that stouter feel, but into the wind, a little less rise to it. It just was a good shaft, but like I said, a little firmer feel, but still really smooth, and like I said, no real bad vibration, even hitting range balls. I mean, it's just, there wasn't any harsh vibration to it, anything like that. I mean, it was really a smooth and good feeling shaft. And then the third one we'll get into is the M40x Blue, which this is one I kind of didn't know. I didn't know they had. I think I saw one of these. It might have been the black on tour. I was doing some like what's in the bag stuff. And then realized they made a blue version of this, and kind of my fault for not knowing a ton of the line here for it. But the Link, M40x Blue, which again has a really just kind of cool blue chrome, blue ion finish to it. The Link graphics are a little different on top. But, UST, again, the finish on it, really cool. They've got a TSPX concept logo, a little light bulb on it and all that. So just kind of cool stuff. But the look on it, again, really high quality, really nice looking. I mean, these things, they definitely, you can tell, put some thought into the graphics and how they're going to show up, in a driver. And the blue one was the one that, as I kind of went through the kind of online and went through the list of what UST offered in the Link series, this is the one that kind of stood out to me the most, only because it's kind of what I play a lot of, and it's mid launch, mid low spin is kind of what it described as, and I was like, okay, that's what I'm looking for. So went with that one there, and do have to say, again, very. If I had to say, a little closer to Gunmetal in terms of feel. It's definitely got a little stouter feel than I expected. And again, I think, and I don't have like an EI profile for all three of these, but it definitely feels like a little stiffer handle section, a little stiffer, definitely a stiff tip, but a little stiffer up near the handle. Compared to most mid-launch shafts, it seems like some mid-launch shafts have a little softer handle. This thing felt a little more stout. Again, closer to feel to Gunmetal, where it was a little more, it's a little softer than Gunmetal, but still an overall really stout feel, really tight feel. And it kind of launched for me closer to Gunmetal. I would say, again, if Gunmetal's mid-low, the blue for me was kind of on that, the very close to mid-low spectrum, if you look at it that way. But a little lower than mid for me, but I would call it mid. Like I said, and again, hitting it into the wind a little bit, you kind of, you see some of the swing faults and things like that, and I was kind of hitting the lower draw all day. But it was a really, again, really smooth shaft, zero harsh vibration to it. I mean, even when you missed it high toe, which was, what I was doing all day, and it hit one or two kind of low on the face as well. Sometimes you get a little of that rough vibration kind of hit the hands, and you got none of that. I mean, it was just really smooth, but it's also really responsive. You sit there, if you did miss it a little high, a little low, you could tell right away, that you didn't hit it flush. But again, like the other two, hit a lot of shots in dead center. I mean, it's just able to center up the club head really easily with this shaft. It definitely, like I said, has a little stouter feel than I expected. I expected it to play a little softer for a mid launcher, but it doesn't. It's got that stouter, tight feel. But again, no rise into it when hitting into the wind. Pretty much no rise. Everything was pretty flat. But it was, like I said, kind of that mid to closer to mid-low launch. But I'm going to call it mid. I would say it plays, very close to a Ventus Blue in terms of ball flight, for me. But it definitely feels a little. It doesn't have that same amount of like kick to it as maybe a Ventus Blue has in terms of that feel and impact. Again, like Gunmetal. Little more to load it. I mean, it was, like I said, smooth, but it didn't have that same loading feel as the Purple. And it impact, a little more kick than Gunmetal. Definitely was a little more lively, a little easier to square up. But, like I said, really consistent, wanted to go straight for the most part. And, like I said, just produced a lot of center, very close to center contact for me for pretty much every shot. Like I said, even some of the swings when you just got down and smothered it, I still connected in the center, and some of those shots went a little farther left than I would like it, but like I said, the consistency of it was really, really good. Overall, the feel of it, impressed with all three. Like I said, I don't know why I didn't really have any expectations, because like I said, I hadn't hit any UST stuff in a while, and all three really impressive with how good they felt. Like I said, the Blue, was probably out of the three, but Blue was probably my favorite, and I think it is because it's kind of that mid launcher, and it's got a little feel of a stouter handle to it, and it got the ball up just a little higher than Gunmetal did. Very, very impressed with all three. I think the Link series super solid, and like I said, they make a handful of others as well that I wasn't able to hit yet, but if hitting these three, getting such a good feel to them, seeing the consistency and how tight they are, I gotta say, like in M40x Black is probably going to be low launch, low spin, and just same thing, smooth, whatever. I'm going to assume that the rest of the line is going to be really close to these in terms of performance, just at different levels. But yeah, I mean, with my quick tempo, like I said, I've told you guys I typically don't do great with super soft handle sections and things like that. Like I said, M40x Blue is really good. Out of the three, probably my favorite in terms of driver, but Purple just had a great smooth feel to it, and Gunmetal definitely looking for something a little lower launch, but without getting a harsh some harsh feeling to it like some other low launch or lower launching shafts. It definitely offers a little bit of feel that sometimes you just can't get. But overall, the Link series, super impressed. Really liked what they've done here, and I think it's something where if you haven't tried a UST shaft in a while, like I haven't, it's definitely worth checking these out if you can get your hands on them. Wherever you go, your fitter, whatever, check out the Link series, because, like I said, the three that I hit, super impressed with. I know they make a handful more, so if you're looking for something else in terms of desired ball flight, they probably make it in the Link series. But if you go to UST Mamiya, USTMamiya.com, which is like Mamiya, so USTMAMYI. I'm so sorry. Gosh. USTMAMIYA.com. Check out everything on the Link series, and like I said, see all the different models they have, but definitely huge. Like I said, the last one I probably hit was last UST was probably other than recoil iron shafts, was probably a UST V2, and these definitely have a softer feel, and I find a little more consistency for me with the Link series. So really nice, really liked them. Thanks to UST for getting me some shafts, and like I said, I'm excited to get them on the course. I'll let you guys know how these things kind of perform on the course as well, because really excited to get all three, but blue especially out on the course and see how that plays. I think all three though will be fun to get on the course and see. So we'll do that as soon as I can, and shaft wise, like I said, super impressed with what they've done so far. Excuse me. So after that, I've got as I was hitting balls there, another thing that I've been hitting. I've been doing a lot of, not a lot, but I've been kind of running through. Excuse me. A lot of the new Tour Edge stuff. So Tour Edge got the brand new Exotic series, the C and the E, E722. So they've got kind of two different models, and basically they've got the E series, which is kind of projected more as the person looking for more forgiveness, easier launch, things like that. And then the C series, which is the player looking for the more player stuff. They're looking for a certain look, a little lower launch, lower spinning, those type of characteristics in the clubs. And I got so I kind of mixed it up because my boy over there at my boy John over at Tour Edge, who is just one of the nicest guys in golf ever, kind of reached out and said, "Hey man, we'd love to have you hit some stuff. What are you interested in?" So I kind of mixed it up a little bit. I didn't want to I didn't want to just say, "Hey, send me every single thing in the lineup." I definitely wanted some stuff that I thought would kind of be more around my game and things that would have better chances of making the bag. So I basically I talked about the tie utility a couple weeks ago. Really liking that. Had it on the range again. I reshafted it with a KBS PGI, a 90 gram shaft in it. Put that in there. And really like that slightly lighter weight shaft. It definitely was easier to get in the air. So hit that a little bit. But that head just really has a great amount of feel, good ball speed. And then I also got I didn't want to just do one, so I did the tie utility and then did the C722 Hybrid. So the C722 Hybrid is a little smaller, a little more compact compared to the E Hybrid, which is going to be a little larger, have a little more of a fairway wood look to it. Or I guess a traditional hybrid look to it than the C722. But the C722 is also going to add an adjustable hosel. So, like this one here, I asked for the four hybrid head, which is 20 degrees or 21 degrees, knowing that I'd have the option to kind of turn it down to 20, which is typically what I play, or even move it up a little bit to 22 if you needed a little more loft. But having the ability to kind of go up and down a little bit from the 21, I thought was perfect. The 3 is a 19 degree, and I just felt like at 19 degrees, when you start adding loft, at least for me, you start adding loft, and then the face starts shutting a little bit, and I don't like that look, especially for a guy who hits it left. So went with the 21, figuring if I needed to open a little bit, perfect. But 21, a lot, and even that 21, a lot of times with a lot of these newer hybrids, the faces are so much hotter that, even though it's a 21, it can still go as long as some of the older 20s and things like that. And this one here, the C721, definitely a much more compact look to it. When you look at the top, it's from face to back, it's pretty short. It's got a very squared off toe, which a lot of better players like the look of. And it's got a very deep face. So if you're somebody who plays hybrid off the deck, it still hits it off the tee a lot, which is a thing I do a lot. You're going to look at this and have a lot of confidence being able to hit this off the tee and play it on short par 4s or long par 3s. But again, I like the adjustable hosel one because you can kind of dial it into however it's going to fit. And it's got a few settings in it as well. If you go down, if you go onto their site, I mean, you can change the lie angle a little bit. You can go anywhere from like a super flat 58.5 or a flat 58.5 all the way up to like 61.5. So like 3 degrees of range in terms of lie angle, which is nice because the flatter you go, typically the less left you have in it. So you have that option, and then also to be able to dial in the loft, and if you do need to strengthen a little bit or weaken a little bit to hit a gap that you need, you have the ability in in this hybrid, which I think for every player it's not a necessity to have an adjustable adjustable hosel in a hybrid, but I think a lot of better players it does help because like I said, you can change the lie a little bit. a lot of players want to make it as flat as possible so they don't have to worry about left with hybrids. So you have that ability. But then again, like I said, dialing in loft to say, okay, this is going a little far. I needed to kind of, get away from my 3-wood or away from my 4-iron or whatever this is kind of replacing. And being able to dial that in a little bit, or also add a little loft to get the ball to go a little higher and land a little softer or whatever. But having the ability to adjust the hosel, I think, is a big thing for some of the better players. But overall, the look of it's really good. If I had to knock one thing on look, which there's not a lot here to knock, I think that the transition from hosel to leading edge makes it look like it almost has a little offset when it doesn't. But it kind of looks that way. And that's the only knock I would give it. I mean, it's a classic gloss black. The sole, again, just black, a little bit of silver. I mean, it's a really classic, classic look. The square, the toe is kind of squared off. It kind of has that old Adams-looking toe, that kind of, peanut toe looking, shape to it. So really classic. I think a lot of players, when they see it, are going to like the look. Like I said, my only knock. And it's something that's kind of, I'll say, special to me in a sense, because I just, I'm just that guy with that leading edge thing. It's something I notice in every club, and it doesn't matter who it is, who makes it. But I've always just been, it's just a part of golf clubs that I just I always check out, and it's just something that sticks out to me. But this one here, when you look at the sole, it's got this new riser sole. This one to give better turf interaction. I don't have much to say on that yet because I haven't had it on the course yet, but I will. And then it's got a weight in the bottom that's pushed a little forward, again, to make this thing kind of a little lower spinning, a little more controlled launch than, say, the E-Series. The E-Series has a similar weight, but it's pushed farther back, adding a little MOI, and also adding a little launch. So, with this one here, for some of the better players, they're looking to kind of control that launch a little bit, and also take off maybe a little bit of spin. And the C722 is just that. The sound on it, really good. It's just got that ting as soon as you hit it. It's just a really classic, like, stainless steel face. And the face here is, I believe it is stainless steel. But it has that same diamond technology that they've been using for a little while now. So it's a steel face. They've got the diamond technology, which basically behind here it's all milled out, and there's little kind of diamond shapes behind it if you were to cut the face off and see behind it. But the face is extremely lively, no matter where you kind of hit it on the face. I hit the first couple balls fairly high toe. They weren't great strikes, but they were out on the toe, a little high, and was really impressed with how well they went. Because I hit them and I was just like, oh man. I mean, you just know, when you put kind of that bad of a swing on it, and then looking and seeing the ball flight, and yes, it was kind of high and whatever, but it was actually a shot that was, somewhat playable. Like, if I was hitting that off the ground, yes, I wouldn't have made it to the, I wouldn't have made it to, say it was a par 5. I wouldn't have made it to the green. No, it wouldn't have got there. But I would have been just basically hanging off and, like, probably looking at the 2 par 5s or the couple par 5s that I played the most of. I'd probably just be hanging out in the rough, under 100 yards in, a little wedge shot. So, I mean, I wouldn't be in a bad spot for where I hit it. When you do hit it, when you hit it solid, it is really, like I said, really lively. You can really feel the ball kind of compress off the face. And it is easy to launch, but it doesn't go crazy high. Like, it's not a hybrid that goes, straight in the air. It is a little flatter ball flight, but still easy to get off the turf and get going. You always feel like the ball is just jumping off the face. Like I said, even if you hit it high toe, it still has some kind of pop to it, or has that feeling when the ball is really going off the face. And it's honestly a little more forgiving than I thought. I kind of expected it to be a pretty darn demanding hybrid, and it's really not. Like I said, you can hit it off the toe. Will it draw? Will it move? Yes, those shots there. The ball will have some curvature to it. But it's not as bad as you think. It's not as hard as you think. You're not going to have to put a perfect swing every time on this thing to get some good performance out of it. Like I said, little flatter launch. Still got up in the air pretty easily, though. I think when I got it, it was just I got the Ventus. It's the non-velo core, the non-HB, but just the Ventus 80-gram shaft in there. And like I said, it was easy to get in the air. Offered a fairly flat trajectory. Seemed to be pretty long. I mean, with the 21 degree. I kind of hit it there's a flag out at at the Royal Oak Golf Center, that range, where if any of you are familiar, there's a white flag that's like 218, and basically getting it just, that last night, hitting it kind of just short of that flag. I mean, like I said, wind was from right to left. It was into us, so nothing was going crazy far. But in terms of the 21 degree, hitting it at that flag and getting it to basically get almost there is pretty impressive, because like I said, 220 for most of my 20 or 19 degree hybrids, that's pretty much off the deck. That's about where it goes, is maybe just beyond that flag. The 20 degree or so is pretty much at best for me about a 220 club. And this thing here was dropping just before it, and pretty impressed with how far it seemed to be going into the wind. And it definitely is something that's long. Even at 21 degrees, I don't think I would need to turn it down to get it to go farther. I think even at 21 it would be fine. And being able to play something a little higher lofted, just going to help get that ball in the air, get it to land softer, and hold some greens. So that part about it's really nice. Like I said, sound and feel really good, really responsive. No matter where you hit it on the face, you're going to kind of feel it compress, feel it get off the face, and know, did you get it a little thin, a little off the toe? I didn't hit too many off the heel, to be honest with you, or if any, I believe, the other night. But, like I said, really responsive. Like I said, the ting, that classic steel ting to it when it went, was great. It's just kind of what you'd expect from a great stainless steel face. But overall, just like really impressed with how well this thing played. And for having a deep face, sometimes I get a little intimidated having a really deep face and hitting it off the turf. I just kind of sometimes I get a little steep, thinking that I have to really get down on the ball to get to make some center contact. And I never had that. Like I really didn't think about that with this club for whatever reason. It always hits me with 3-woods and things like that. But for whatever reason, this thing I just swung normal, and it was like I said, when you hit it center, it just offered a great shot. When you missed it, you weren't penalized as much as you thought you would be. So if you're one of those players who's kind of debating, I hit it really high, I kind of hit it left, hybrids left, I want something that's gonna go more straight and whatever, but I need some forgiveness. I think you get some of that forgiveness out of this C722. It really does. It becomes more forgiving than you would think. Like I said, the turf interaction part, it was great off a mat. I'll tell you that. But I haven't got to hit it off the grass yet. Like I said, as soon as I can, I will definitely be taking this thing out and hitting it on the course just to see. Just to see how it plays there and see that turf interaction. I think it'll be really good. I think out of the rough it'll be great because it is a little more compact. I think hitting it out of the rough should be pretty solid. You should be able to get down on the ball pretty easily without the grass grabbing too hard around it. But overall, I was just really impressed with with the C722. I think it's a really good hybrid. In terms of anti-left, it wants to go pretty straight. I think the EXS Pro that they made a few years ago that had the 2 weights on the sole was probably the most anti-left hybrid I've ever hit. Moving the heavy weight, I think it was like 20 grams out in the toe. That was probably the most anti-left hybrid I've ever hit. This year's pretty good, though. Everything there, it definitely did not... I never had a problem with it going left unless I swung it that way. And that's what I tend to do. I get that shut face, I come over the top, and I hit it left. And I had a couple of those shots in there just because that's me and that's my swing. But on good swings, everything was straight, maybe just a hair of a draw to it, but everything was pretty much straight. It didn't really want to turn over and go hard left, from anything I hit the other day. So pretty impressed with that. I think better players who, do want to make sure they don't have to worry about the left. I think this thing is definitely worth a try, especially if you can, set it up, make it a little more flat, and go from there. I think you're going to really enjoy hitting this hybrid as, compared to some other stuff. But really, overall, a great shape. Like I said, love the feel, and distance-wise, the thing it is. Like a lot of hybrids now, it's a cannon, but it's not an uncontrollable cannon. Like I said, I think keeping it at 21 degrees for me, offer a little more height, land a little softer, I'm still probably going to get the distance I need out of it. Again, when I get to the course, we'll find out 100% for sure if I need to tweak anything. But if we're just on the range, I think in the standard setting at 21, I think I'm going to be pretty good with that there. So we'll see how that goes. But that will be definitely something that gets out to the course. Excited to hit it. But if you're somebody looking for a little more of a player's hybrid, something that, you can definitely, versatile, where you can hit it off the tee, hit it on the turf, kind of play it from anywhere. And also, you don't have to really worry about a whole lot of this thing going left. The Exotics, the Tour Edge Exotics C722 is definitely worth looking at. I think a lot of better players will enjoy what they've done here and the versatility of this hybrid. So check that thing out. You just go to touredge.com, click on the exotic stuff, and you'll see both hybrids. But the C722 is the one that I hit. And like I said, designed a little more for the better player, but definitely something to check out. Like I said, I've enjoyed it so far. Really looking forward to getting it out on the course. So the other club that I've been hitting a lot of, there, which just showed up, which was pretty nice, was was Tour Edge again, but this is going to be the E722 3-wood. So this thing, same way, they make a C722 as well. The C722 is going to have, that weight push forward a little bit. I think it's got a little deeper face, a little more compact shape. But for me with 3-woods, I like having a bigger 3-wood, and I don't hit it super high. I'm kind of a guy, I hit it pretty flat. So for me, having something that launches a little higher, gets the ball up in the air and has a little more forgiveness to it, I'm all game with that. So this one here, the E722, no adjustable hosel. This one here is just glued, which typically is pretty much standard. Anytime you got a glued hosel, it gives you the ability to move some weight from that hosel back into the club head, make it easier to hit, make it a little more forgiving. And overall, the shape is really good. It's a little elongated from face to back. It's a little elongated. It's a little stretched out. But that's, I'm okay with that. I don't think it's anything too crazy. It's a slight bit triangular in terms of the back of it, but nothing that's too wild. It's still fairly classic shape. I think Tour Edge did a great job in terms of the finish on top. It's the carbon fiber with a gloss black, and it's all covered in kind of a clear coat, so it's got a really nice glossy finish to it. Just a small 722 alignment mark on the top, but overall really clean. I think it kind of mimics last year, same thing, had a really kind of clean, easy look. Don't want to hit a bunch of stuff. It's fairly shallow, the face, in terms of height. It's fairly shallow. I don't think it's insanely shallow, but it's going to be shallow enough where you're going to be able to hit this thing off the turf with no problem. It's going to be easy to kind of launch high in the air, but overall, fairly shallow face. And again, it's got the this riser sole, which is supposed to kind of help improve the turf interaction when you hit it off the turf. And as soon as I can do that, I will do that. But this one here basically got it with an AV Blue 65X, which is kind of one of the stock options that Tour Edge has. And overall, just like they kind of say, Tour Edge has been known for a long time for making super hot fairways, super hot hybrids, and that's what they're known for. They're starting to really do a lot of stuff with driver, which I have both driver heads, the E and the C, so I'll talk about those a little later, because I didn't get enough time yet with the E. Like I said, I brought so many darn clubs to the range and stuff, and I didn't have enough time to hit everything. So still got to hit E versus C in driver, so I'll talk about those later. But the E fairway wood, it's like I said, the turf interaction with this riser sole is to be really improved. I'll find out as soon as I get to the course, because I will be taking this thing out to the course. I was really, really excited. I'm really impressed with how easy it was to hit. And I know they market it as, the E722 is really easy to hit, and all that, and easy to get up in the air, and it's meant to be forgiving and all that. And I think you hear that so much in the marketing side that you just kind of forget about it. But it really was super easy to hit. The first swing was just a nice, easy, high shot, and it just, kind of got up and went. I still hit stuff pretty flat with a 3-wood, just because I kind of de-loft the face at impact to kind of make sure I hit down on the ball. But for most of the 3-woods, how they go for me, this thing really did go really well. It was easy to hit off the deck. Like I said, that slightly shallower face, I never had any problem with worrying about, having to get down on the ball. Just was really easy to pick clean right off the mat. I hit a lot of really good shots with it. And even stuff, again, where I hit it kind of high toe, getting steep over the top, those balls stayed on line really well. I mean, this thing, they moved some weight way back in the head to increase that MOI. And honestly, it seems to work because, hitting a handful of 3-woods this year, this thing really did stay on line really well. I mean, I'm still able to get some shots to go left because, there's no club out there that can really, stop terrible swing mechanics. So I was still able to get some balls to go left. But, I mean, the stuff that you just missed off center, the stuff that you struck well, it went really well, and they go really straight. And this thing does seem like a cannon. The ball just jumps off the face. Much like the Hybrid, a really good sound. It's just that ting sound to it that you'd expect from, a hot stainless steel face. And this thing, same thing, has that diamond face technology. So behind it, there's a bunch of little diamonds milled in to kind of help the flex of the face. And really, I think, for these faces getting better and better in off-center hits, it really does. I mean, the stuff that you kind of just missed, there's a little diamond in the dead center. When you hit it on the diamond, I mean, the ball just, it's an absolute cannon. But when you got outside a little bit of that diamond and you got over kind of towards some of the scoring lines and stuff and hit it out there, it still felt hot. Like, it still felt like the club or the ball was really jumping off the face. And from, how far it was going, it definitely didn't seem like you were losing a ton of ball speed when you did slightly miss it. Like I said, launch, really easy. It was easy to get up in the air. Is it, I would say in terms of height, Ping G425 Max is still kind of, to me, the ultimate in terms of how high, a 3-wood goes. This is probably just a little bit under that. I mean, this thing definitely gets up in the air and goes. A little flatter ball flight, though, than say, the 425 Max that I've hit before. This thing didn't quite go as straight up and straight down. Definitely a little flatter, I think, in terms of, especially hitting off the tee, I think I'd find a little more distance with the E722. But like I said, the sound and feel great, easy to get up in the air, but it didn't go just straight up, straight down. It was a little flatter trajectory, which I got to think this thing is fairly low spin. Again, didn't have a launch monitor with me, but I got to think that it's fairly low spin because the actual apex wasn't as kind of, I'm trying to, how do you say it? Like, it's not as sharp, it definitely had a flatter, more boring trajectory than you would think, in terms of how easy this thing gets in the air. And I think, honestly, like where they say, this is just a forgiving 3-wood and it's easy to hit, I think even a better player who's looking for a little launch could play this, thing and be really happy with it. Because I don't think you'd get, a crazy amount of spin to it. I think even a better player who just needs a little launch would find this thing, to look at. It looks really good. Tourage has done a great job the past couple of years with the fit and finish, and especially these crowns with that cool, the carbon fiber look with the black, the gloss black paint. Everything just kind of blends together, but you still see all the tech there, and the overall shape is pretty darn good. Like I said, it's got a fairly classic shape. It's a little stretched, but nothing that affects your eye. And to me personally, I like a 3-wood that's got a little bigger footprint. It just gives me the confidence that when I do hit it off center, that I'm still going to hit it pretty straight, and it's going to have some forgiveness to it. And it definitely does. So the E722 I really liked. I think it's a really good 3-wood. It'll be interesting. I hit some off the tee as well. Again, I've had some clubs where they were great off the deck and easy to get the ball in the air, but then you hit them off the tee and they just launch straight in the air and really spinny. Didn't have that problem with this. It definitely still had a really kind of flat trajectory and was still easy to hit off the tee. I mean, the face is a little shallower, so you do have to take in mind when you tee it up, don't go crazy high. But the versatility to be able to hit it off the tee, hit it off the off the fairway. I mean, both really easy to do, and I think Tourage kind of nailed that in terms of versatility. It is a little bigger profile, so hitting it out of the rough, that'll be a little interesting. Like I said, this riser sole, which is makes it a little narrower. It'll be interesting to see how that plays because, like I said, the bigger footprint stuff for me sometimes out of the rough, I just don't hit it as well. But we'll find out hopefully soon enough. But the E722 is really good. Excuse me, a really good 3-wood. If you're looking for something easy to hit, easy to get in the air, but you're not looking for something that just goes straight up and straight down. You need the 720. This E722 is definitely worth looking at, and like I said, I was really impressed with it. I thought they did a great job with this one. Like I said, I thought it was super easy to hit, and it kind of like one of those, almost kind of puts a smile on your face the first couple shots, because it's just kind of so effortless to get the ball up and get it out there and get it kind of in the fairway or, towards the green. So a really good 3-wood, definitely worth checking out. Again, you go to touredge.com. Check out the C722 series, or check out the C series and the E series. I think depending on the player you are, you could kind of blend, the clubs from each series kind of into what you're looking for. Like I said, driver-wise, it'll be interesting to see. I've got both, so we'll hit both and see. But, like I said, 3-wood, I'm kind of glad I got the E instead of the C. I think the E is definitely more my game in terms of what I'd be looking for. But hybrid-wise, I think the C is more what I'm looking for there. So just a good blend of some clubs there. I don't know how I'm going to set this thing on here to display it, but whatever. But anyway, that's what I've got basically today. So basically, handful of really good clubs, and like I said, if you got looking for shafts or whatever, that's UST's Link and Tour Edge's Exotics 3-wood Hybrid. So if you've got any questions, hit me up at Club Junkie Pod on Instagram. It's probably the best way. Shoot me a DM, whatever. If you got any questions, comments, hit me up there. And hopefully we'll have some more gear for next week. Next week's Masters, so super excited for that. My show may be more focused on Masters and Best Irons list, but we'll see. And hopefully everybody's has a good week. Enjoy the the Valspar this week. Enjoy that, and then we're on to the Masters. So have a good one. We'll talk to you next week.